Good day, everyone, and welcome to the show. Hi, how's everybody doing? Sorry for being late.
Oh, dude.
This is one of those weird moments where, like, we've actually been talking to nobody for, like, the last 10 minutes.
Hey, guess what? I got a notification.
Yeah.
We've been talking for like
We've
20
been talking
minutes.
for like 10, 15 minutes now to nobody. We thought we had started the show. We had some difficulty with the
SD card
that we record the show.
Yeah.
So we already have the sponsor up, which is audio control, which means we get to do that again. So, hey, it's Monday, and we've already had this conversation. You guys just weren't here for it.
Yeah. All right, so
that was pretty nice. Like, wow.
Let's pop your commercial for audio control right now that it's up there.
Yeah, you know what? I answered this question, which is very odd.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm having this deja vu feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, or vu jade, the strange feeling. None of this happened before. Okay, so let's get this show started. Oh, this is the best. So you guys haven't seen the 12-Volt Clean Wire Club?
Not yet.
Wow, you sure? Okay, let's.
Not yet.
Let me pull that back because let's start there. Hey guys, we do this little thing called the 12-Volt Clean Wire Club. If you were here 10 minutes ago, you caught it, but it was just us talking to nobody.
That's
so
it.
Let's pull it up here. Hold on, let me shut this off here and let me push that button there. Yep, that one.
There you go.
Hey, who do we know who this is? Do you remember?
Mr. Meek Mike.
Sure.
Yeah,
Meek Mike.
Yes.
Yep.
He did a wonderful job.
He did an amazing job.
Awesome. This
segment
of the show is brought to you by T-Spec, Tsunami. You can find those accessories at metraonline.com. Check them out.
And as I said to myself, apparently, because no one isn't, I really like this and the way I love the exposed circuit board back in the amps. I've always been a big fan. One of my systems many years ago when I had the Orion series GT 620 and 420, I put them together and you could see the circuit board. So, yeah, it was pretty cool. But anyways, see, the thing was we actually hit the live button and it didn't go because I think it had been sitting there so long.
I don't know. I was like, I'm just waiting
so
for the
weird
for the clock, you know.
Yeah,
so it's like
that was
what?
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was strange. Who cares? Okay, so moving on. Back to the first sponsor of the show is our good friends at Audio Control. And with summer fast approaching, it's time to get those watercrafts or yard crunchers or rock crawlers, whatever it is, out and tuned up and ready to go. Did you know that Audio Control makes a line of product called ACX? This is their all-weather series of products. These things are built like brick houses, literally brick houses. They make them in several different versions. This just happens to be a 606. They have a 5-channel. They have 2 4-channels. They have 2 mono blocks. They have a 2-channel. They have quite a few of these, and they're all weather, as I said. All the ends are it's all closed in. No material, no water. Material? Yeah. Anyways,
no material.
Yeah, nothing is getting inside of these bad boys.
What about that top?
The top cover here, although it looks like these are dials and switches, this is actually a full aluminum cover that they silk screen it on so that you don't accidentally leave it off because we all want to see cool things.
That's a gasket.
This is a gasket, so you don't have to worry about any moisture, condensation, mud, goo, or whatever getting in through the top of these. And then if you're looking for the ultimate controller, we have this, which is the ACX BT3. This is a 3-zone Bluetooth controller, which makes it great for, pairing up with, let's say, a 6-channel amplifier or a 5-channel amplifier because it has 3 zones of control. So you can,
3 zones? What do you mean?
3 zones. So you can independently control channels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So like if you have like a boat that has speakers in the front, speakers in the middle, speaker in the back, and you'd like the levels to be different, you can go in and set those all up and then go back
individually.
To the Really? Yeah, individually.
Wow.
So if you don't want these, just like, it's all I hear. You can turn them down, and then you have master volume control, so then you can turn them up and down using the new levels that you have just set. It's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Multicolor
on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, it's in do not disturb. But hey, it's Monday, so these things are just gonna all get screwed up. Anyways,
Yeah.
head over to audiocontrol.com. You can find out more about these cool products.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny too because I did have this queued up and ready to go.
Hey man, why you don't answer my phone call?
Yeah. So here's some of the other ones just to give you reference point: 606, the
302,
655,
301. Oh yes.
Oh, so it's one 4-channel. My bad. A 2-channel.
1 channel, 2 channel,
2 mono.
4-channel. Yep.
Yep.
Very
so,
cool.
Plenty to choose from to make your ultimate and weatherproof system. Now, we do have our good friends at Arc Audio, DSP, talk later in the show. Tonight, we're going to talk about one of the things I feel is often overlooked, which is crossover. We had a question last week where someone was asking about the difference between like using a DSP and a radio versus an actual DSP. One of those big things is crossover, so we're going to hit on that. There again, this is going to be a universal thing. We're going to show you in their software, but it's going to apply to maybe something like Audio Control or Moscone or whoever else we happen to be talking about. Mm-hmm. So get your questions in, guys, because the Q&A
starts now.
Drop me a question, Fernando. Did you guys get to see the Northern Lights? It was reported that they were visible in the Florida Keys. So where we live in Florida is a place called Pinellas County, and we have a very high level of light pollution. You can't even see stars at night, okay? Like the street lamps here, I believe, are facing up and reflecting off of the atmosphere so that they shine down on the roads. So as much as we wanted to, no, we didn't see nothing. There is no dark areas anywhere where we live here. We would have to go about, which it would have been worth
to
it.
the Keys.
Or 2 hours up the road to like Crystal River or something.
Oh,
but,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it would have been cool. Just for you guys, like, is the world not ending? I feel like the world is ending.
Dude, that's
like,
what
I don't think these are things we're supposed to see
I'm
here
like,
in Florida.
I thought the only place that you can go is,
Yeah, it looks very scary. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm like, wow.
All right. Dean, do you have information on replacing the Fender audio system in a 2022 Nissan Titan Pro 4X? Does any company make a wiring harness? This is one of those sad things where Nissan is just like, although I will say Nissan gets more attention than Honda, the Metra might. Idata makes a standard harness for the non-amplified systems, but not anything else. So if anything, I would check Metra to see if they make something for the AX DSP. That might be the place to go. You can find it at metraonline.com. And if they do, that'd be great. But that would be where I would start. Will Epicenter work with Amp Sub Pro? Oh, yes.
Huh.
Well, okay, so that's a good question, though, because the Sub Pro is actively crossed over at 120 hertz.
Okay.
So they recommend at least 160 hertz and below for an Epicenter. So they gave you 40 dB clearance to go into the Epicenter. It was just by accident because they didn't own them back then when they came out with the piece.
Right.
If you're worried about it, you could just spend the extra $100 and go up to the regular Amp Pro. It will work the same as the Sub Pro. It just won't, if it's like in a Dodge, it won't give you the ANC bypass harness, which kind of sucks. But no, it's fine. It'll work good. We've done it before. We can validate that it actually works. So yeah, do it. You're fine. It's a good question, though. It's a good question. Most people don't realize that the Sub Pro has a low pass crossover in it. I fought for it not to be there. I wanted it to be one of the switches that you could just shut it off because I'm like, all I need is the left and right output. They were worried about people spending less money to get that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of sucky, but whatever. What is the best 200 watt hertz 6.5 speaker? Milli Pro?
I think they are more than $200.
No, 200 watt.
Oh, 200 watts.
I mean, I didn't realize they handled that much power. I mean, you got Milli Pro, you got Milli Legend.
Yeah.
We've done the Pros, we've done the Legends. They sound great.
You don't. Yeah.
I mean,
nothing wrong with those. Yeah.
Awesome, yeah, the Pros are fine.
Speakers.
Yeah. All day long. Good evening. DSP question. Say you have 100 amps, but I'm guessing watts. Speakers only handle 50 watts. Can you turn the volume, or I guess the wattage on the amp with the DSP so you do not harm the speakers? Yes, but keep in mind, there's a lot to that question to unpack, okay? Because understanding that everything is not as black and white as it's made out to be, right, Fernando? Yeah, everything's black and white with him. Anyways, so let's kind of take this. All right, let's look at the wattage first. You said you had a 100-watt speaker, 100 amps, 100 watts, and you have 50-watt speakers. We're going to be actively crossing those speakers over. So you're automatically going to change the power handling of the speaker, because when you look at the rating for the speaker is from X to Y, which is usually, let's say, 20 or 50 up to 5 or 10,000. All right, you're gonna shave that down. You're probably gonna have it, depending on the size, and let's say 220 to 80 hertz. Okay, so that's going to limit the movement of the speaker. That's automatically going to change the power handling of the speaker. Now you're going to apply EQ to it. All right, which means you're going to adjust levels. Again, you're now going to have, depending on where you cross it over, not infinite, but a lot of level control, to where you're going to go in and start adjusting either the output of the factory radio, the output of the aftermarket radio, as well as tuning it to the cab of the car. So you're going to start cutting frequencies, okay? You're not going to boost anything because you got tons of power. You start cutting things, all right? Which there again is going to reduce the amount of wattage getting to the speaker. So when you're done setting it all up, you might actually, out of that 100 watts, you may only be getting, let's say, 35, 45 watts of actual usable wattage, which is still kind of high, to that speaker. If it's tweeter, you might get like 2 watts. So then you equate in, like, what job does that speaker have? So if it's like a mid-range, well, it's going to get even fewer frequencies to it, so it's going to have a different power rating. If it's like a 6.5 and use it as a mid-bass, yeah, you're going to be fine. So, but yes, to answer the first question is, can you control the output of the DSP? 100%. You have control, infinite amount of control in a DSP to do level. So, and there again, you're also going to be matching levels from right to left. So you're not going to be keeping left and right at the same. You're often going to turn down the speakers that are closer to you, even with time alignment. You're still going to turn them down. So yeah, there's a lot of fun that you get to do in this.
A lot of fun.
Lots of fun. I know, it's so cool. Onkyo audio brand. Any thoughts? I was a big Onkyo fan, and I actually have 2 Onkyo amplifiers in my living room right now. If you want to look them up, they're called the M504s. This is back when Onkyo was a Japanese company. I love them. I would have bought 4 if I had the money back then. I didn't, because I was broke and I was car stereo installer. But as far as the new stuff goes, I haven't had any chance to deal with Onkyo or Integra in a while. I was going to buy an Integra receiver, and then Alex, at the time when he owned Audio Control, freaked out and sent me an Audio Control receiver. So you don't say no to that. So that was my go-to brand, though. But I didn't end up getting it. So sorry. Hi, I haven't watched you guys in a long time. I still love you both. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
We still love you.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming back.
We understand.
Oh, do you have that one saved?
Yep.
Okay. Hi. Hello from a hospital. That sucks. Hopefully you're just hanging out there, not actually there because you got nothing else better to do and you had a heart attack or something. That would totally suck.
Oh, wow.
We missed it. We went to the heart attack because the part of the show that they missed was like when Accident Central was happening out front today. We had a gentleman get run over in a wheelchair out in front of the store today. Like literally, truck hit him, kept going. The wheelchair was like a half mile down the road, drove over the guy. They'd landed the helicopter in the middle of the road to take him away. That was impressive, by the way. I have a picture of that. Because, I'm like, dude, how are they going to get it between the power lines? It's because it looks so wide.
So big,
but dude, those guys are the bomb. Did we ever post up the Tesla Alpine install? We're actually actively doing that right now.
Editing,
We're on, I think we're on either 4 or 5, episode 4 or 5 of it. So it is in production, and you will be getting another one this week. We were out of town last week, and we were been real crazy hectic, and I didn't have time to get one up and posted. Normally I try to do that when we're going to be gone. I just edit it and have it ready to go, but I didn't get a chance this time. I apologize. So yes, there are more of those coming, and it does have a conclusion. We're just not there yet. So thank you for asking. Hi. Today on Instagram, you mentioned the Infinity 4-channel DSP. The price is fantastic. If you want to, could it be used as a standalone DSP via high level out to high level in of external amps? Yes, actually it could, and they do recommend you do that. It's a great my first DSP. Most people are going to do that just go up to the JBL because it's an 8-channel DSP. And you get a few more features, and it's a little less wattage, so it doesn't overload the input of the whatever amplifier or high level to low level you're going to be using. And I think it's about the same price. It's really close. So a lot of guys use that JBL. We're actually using that on one of our displays to do the same thing. It powers up a bunch of kicker key stuff, as well as a bunch of IRTA 2s. When we build because we needed something to manipulate the sound.
Yeah.
So we used that. So yes, it has an infinite amount of great price, value, and cool things you can do.
Yep.
Now that the Illusion C3CX isn't shipping, who else makes a 3.5-inch coaxial around the same quality? That is a good question, and I don't really. So Brian has talked about a couple of them, but I don't think any of them are coaxials. I don't know he's anti-coaxial 3.5, which is annoying. And Raven, who is the product that Orca has been talking about, who used to own Illusion, it's a lot of things are transitioning over to Raven. We can talk about it a little bit because they have posted pictures and they do show it. They do have a middler coming out that is pretty awesome. But I don't know. I don't know who makes this. Right. I really wish I did because I feel we need it.
As soon as we find out,
we'll let you know.
We definitely
hold that thought. We're at that point in time where we need to switch over sponsorships. And for that, we're going to do this. We're going to do this and go, hey guys, it's that time again for Arc Audio's DSP Quick Tips. In this week's show, we're going to talk to you about crossovers. That's right. One of the questions that we get is, what are one of those features that makes an add-on DSP better than, let's say, if I just buy a really nice radio? Well, one of the big ones is crossover. We have the software loaded up. Now, this is going to apply to most DSPs because pretty much all of them have an amazing crossover. And we will go here and we will select crossover. Now, when you're looking at crossovers, you have a crossover for each channel, meaning if you have an 8-channel DSP, you're going to have 8 individual crossovers. They do not have to be the same on all products. Now, this is what will separate you between, let's say, a high-end DSP and an okay DSP. The high-end DSPs, like you're looking at here, you see output 1 and you see output 2 on the top and bottom of the page. These can be linked or they can be separate. Some DSPs allow you to do this, some DSPs don't. So when you're searching for the DSP of choice, make sure you keep that in mind. We're going to talk about it under the guise that everyone is this cool and they all have selectable left and right crossovers. So the first thing is that you have to understand there's 3 types of crossovers that you could possibly use. There's a high pass, there's a low pass, and there's a band pass. The difference between the two is a high pass is used to remove bass, a low pass is used to remove treble, And a bandpass is used to remove both bass and treble. That is what you use on a mid-range or a mid-bass, depending on what you're doing. So, with this particular, how do you set up a bandpass? That is, you set a high pass, which will pick 50 hertz, and you set up a low pass, and we'll pick 5,000. The next step, we have to decide what type of crossover we're going to use. If we're going full active, more than likely you're probably going to want to use the Linkwix Riley 24dB. But if you don't want to, simply select on the button here, and you have Butterworth, Linkwix Riley, Variable Q, which means make your own, Chevy Chev, Chevy Chev. Anyways,
Chevy.
they just call it Chevy Chev.
I think it's Chevy.
Yeah, Chevy. And Bessel. There are a couple other ones too, but these are the only ones they give you. We're going to pick Linkwix Riley. We're going to select 24, but you can pick flat, which is usually what you're going to pick if you wanted to shut something off. 12 dB, 24 dB, 36, and 48. So we'll pick 24 on our high pass. Now, if this is a mid-bass driver and we're looking for a little bit more of, we might want to come in and select a Butterworth, especially if we have our subwoofer crossed over with a Butterworth, and then select 12 dB. Oh, I did that backwards. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, I did it backwards. And these are the things that get me too, guys. So don't feel like, oh, no, it happens all the time.
Double check, guys.
Yeah.
Before you start, just double check your...
Yeah, so there we go. So we'll pick a Butterworth for a mid-bass. That'll give us a little bit more in the bottom end. 50. We would never cross it at 50 hertz. We would pick 80. Now, down here it says link channels. If I didn't want to link channels, so for example, let's say I'm using the output of channel 1 to do one thing and the output of channel 2 to do something else. Let's say channel 1 is a center channel. Channel 2 might be a mono rear output because I didn't have the right channels. I could set them up to do two different things. Or if I select link, they will pair up to each other. In a radio, you don't have this option. In a radio, also have predetermined crossover points. And with this, I have infinitely, if you look to the number here on the far right side, I have infinite amount of crossover. I can pick any number I want. Now, this is also good, too, if you're trying to get a rattle in a car and you're like, why is this thing rattling? And it's annoying the crap out of you. You can come over, unlink them, and just play some test tones and start bringing up your crossover point, okay? And that's actively going to limit the speaker's movement, which is going to help you find where that rattle is. So you can sit there and go, oh, okay, there it is. Now I have two choices. I can leave it like that, or I can go over into the EQ section and pull that number down a tad bit, maybe because it's coming in hot. We don't, it happens. It's not a big deal. But the infinite amount. So if you want to do something crazy and you'd say you want 75 hertz.
Like exactly?
You do exactly that number. So when you're looking at the FS of a tweeter, this is real important because depending on the tweeter, let's say, like say Focal, Morel, Hertz, whoever, Arc, if you have a low FS and you want to cross this thing over at 22, 21, 23, 2400 hertz, it's easy enough to do. We will pick that, we can go in here and we'll shut this off because we want to make it a high pass only. So we just select nothing for low pass, and then we'll come in and we'll pick 2200. And now we have a 2200. And then we'll switch that back to Linkwix Riley, 24 dB. Great place to start. If it's a Morel, more than likely you're going to pick Butterworth, and you're going to go 18 because they're weird and they like to do stuff like that. So there you go. I have all these options available to me. Now, if this was a radio, I'd be stuck with whatever they gave me, which isn't going to work as good. So the nice thing is now I can come over here and I can select all my pairs, which is what you're going to do. Some DSPs will have speakers you check on. This one happens to have these nice little pairs on the side, so I can decide what I want it to be. I can also go down and just have a lot of fun.
Can you rename those outputs?
You can, but not here.
Okay.
There is a way to rename them. It's
Mhm.
just not on this page.
Okay.
So once you've renamed them, then it will reflect them in this page.
In that section.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm. So you don't have just like output one.
Right.
Now, that's another important thing, and thank you for asking that, Fernando, because if you are somebody that is new to DSP and you're like, I'm just going to hook this stuff up and go crazy, and then you need help with it, I will tell you now that anyone you ask for help is going to set their DSP up very simply. 1 and 2 are front tweeters. 3 and 4 are front mid-range or mid-bass. 5 and 6 are going to be mid-bass or rear. 7 and 8 could possibly be sub and or rear. You understand what I'm doing here? So start at the tweeters, and you're going to work your way back, smallest speaker to biggest speaker, from top to bottom. If you like 1 and 2 is the mid bass in the door, 3 and 4 is tweet, they will look at you and go, what in the hell did you do? And they will make you fix it before they will help you. So keep that in mind when setting these things up. And there again, like I said, you saw me goof up there. It happens. We've had this happen before. I've called tech support. I was talking with Nick, and I go, hey, I think I figured out why my tweeter doesn't work. I have a bandpass set up at 5,000 hertz, both top and bottom. So it was making no sound. Using the plot tool will help you verify what you see as well. All right, well, there you go. Tools.
Plot.
Yeah, thank you. So this will give you a nice visual representation of what you got going on here.
Uh-huh.
And what you can see is right now, gray, which is output 2, is a bandpass. And then over here, channel 1, we had set up as a high pass for that demonstration that we were showing you there.
So the 2 green boxes, that means they are active? That's what you selecting right now?
Those are the 2 I was playing with.
Okay.
So there you go. All right, guys. This has been DSP Talk Crossovers, brought to you by the fine folks at Arc Audio. I like the plot tool. That's pretty cool.
Arcaudio.com.
Yeah. Well, no, we're going to just do that. Oh, not that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mondays. You can find it at arcaudio.com right there. It's right on the screen. Plot tool, huh? Look at that. See?
Plot tool. See, it's a lot of features that they...
I know. It's
Dude,
so many things.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about it because, like I was talking to what's his name the other day. It's like, we talked about it Saturday.
Talking
the
with
linking
the
tool.
guy,
Yeah, the tall redhead.
Yeah.
These are all things that, you just find out as you're moving along.
Mhm.
So it's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, the plot tool would be helpful. That would have solved my issue when I crossed that tweeter over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was fun talking to Nick, though. 2017 Volvo. Why? Yep. 780. My neighbor wants to put a new stereo in it. Needs a harness. Didn't find much on Metra. Never messed with.
Sent me before.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you what I say to everyone that owns a Volvo. No habla installation.
No habla installation. No hablo car audio.
No hablo car audio. Run as far as you can away from it. You're not going to find anything. There's very little. You might be able to find stuff on Spiral Audio. There might be some stuff there. Honestly, that'd probably be the only place I would look to see if there's something. It's called Spiral Audio. It's spelled exactly how it sounds. Those are really the guys that handle all the oddball European stuff. So give it, but I would run. I would run so far.
Don't run.
I don't want anything to do with a Volvo. That's just a bad day. Nothing against the cars. I just don't want to do anything to them. I don't mind driving them. How many amps can I have on one remote wire? Seems like when I plug in my remote wire with 4 amps, it cuts off. What should I do? Heard of people using relays, but I just do not know how many relays. Okay, so this is a great question because we actually talked about this before. Different amplifiers have different requirements for turning on. When you're using something like a DSP, most DSPs have an input and an output. And that output is connected to some form of an internal relay.
Mm-hmm.
Most amplifiers require a third of an amp to turn on. That's right, a third of it, not even a whole amp. Some amplifiers, on the other hand, can be aggressive and might need a whole amp or a half amp to turn on. If you have 4 amplifiers, and let's say they require half amp, that's 2 amps to turn on. And if your radio only has a half amp of output or an amp of output, then yeah, you're going to make them shut off. In which case, a small relay would be ideal. Now, when you go to your discount auto parts, you're going to find a 30 amp Bosch style relay. You can find them underneath your hood too. You can just steal them from there. Don't, because your car won't start or something bad will happen. Now, we do have a video on how to connect a remote turn on relay. It's 4 wires that you have to hook up to it. The one thing you want to keep in mind is I would order a smaller relay off of Amazon, like a 10 amp relay or a 5 amp relay. You don't need a big 30 amp relay, especially now with some of these modern amplifiers being built, I'd say not the greatest. When you put a big 30 amp relay on there, when that electromagnet pulls over, you get a pop, okay, which can be avoided. So I would look for a small 10 amp relay on Amazon. You can buy them. They're cheap. They have 5 little pins on them. They're numbered. There's like it's 85 and 86 are your power and ground input, and 30 and 87 and 87A are your outputs. So 30 would be your input power, and then 87 would be your output to your remote turn on, out to the amplifiers. And if it's a 10 amp relay, it means at maximum it can handle a 10 amp load. So you can put 4 amplifiers on there, even if they were half amp, because that would only be a 2 amp draw. So they're more small, they're convenient. I think I'm out of them right now. Yeah, I got to order more. A diode is nice when you put a diode across. Some of the relays come with diodes built into them, which is nice because a diode will help to alleviate that. But yeah.
You're welcome, man.
No problem. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is Dave from Atlanta.
Hey, Dave.
I purchased a U-Haul storage, and inside there were 2 brand new Sundown 10-inch subwoofers and enclosures. What type of amp can I use? Thank you. Good find. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
First thing you need to do when you're buying an amp for your subwoofers is you have to find out what ohm load your subwoofers are. The ohm load is the resistance that the subwoofers are going to put on the amplifier. You can figure this out using a digital multimeter set to resistance or continuity, or whichever one. Continuity is the one that's going to go beep. Resistance.
Well, normally you find it on the.
You can also find it on the back of the speaker, but if they're already in a box, and you don't feel like pulling them out because they're already in a box, you can grab a digital multimeter. This is what a DMM digital multimeter. And we're going to go over here to this little peacock looking, this is called ohm.
Peacock.
That's what it looks like. Anyways, this is going to look just like this. And when you put it on the speaker, do you have a speaker?
Yeah.
Grab one of those. Can you reach one of those?
Yeah.
Oh, open that. There's one in there. Come on, cripple. So can you hold that up?
Sure.
So when you go to the leads on the speaker, it doesn't matter, positive and negative isn't gonna do anything. It's just you're gonna get this, and you're getting a number that looks like that. Okay. When it's looking like that, you're gonna round. So this is a 4 ohm speaker, 3.3. That's typically they're not gonna be dead on. So very rarely is it gonna say 4 or 2 or 1.
You do and the coyote, and then you put it back.
What was that? Coyote?
Yes.
So this is continuity. Okay, this is very close.
3, 4. Yeah.
Yep. So what this is going to tell us is the ohm load of said woofer. Once we have that information, we can then take that over to the amplifiers that we're going to purchase and find out if the amplifiers are going to work with the ohm load we have. So for example, let's say the box adds up to 1 ohm. you're going to need an amplifier that can put out its power at 1 ohm. If it's 2 ohm, you're going to need an amplifier that can put out its power at 2 ohm. There is a difference. So some amplifiers put all their power at 1 ohm. Some amplifiers put out all their power at 2 ohm. If you buy a 2-channel amplifier, it's going to put all its power at 4 ohm. So these are the things you have to look at. Now, as he said, sometimes you can pull the woofer out of the box and it'll say like dual 4 ohm. A dual 4 ohm can be 8 ohm or 2 ohm. And if you have another one next to it, more than likely they're going to be wired up as a 1 ohm load, in which case you'd go out and you'd buy an amplifier that can handle 1 ohm. The other thing is if it's got a part number on it, you go over to Sundown and you figure out what is the power handling on these woofers. If you look at RMS, meaning this is the biggest amount of power it can handle, cut that in half. So if it's 1,000 watts RMS, more than likely it's going to be a 500 watt woofer. So you're going to make sure you get something, 1,000 watts for both would be good. 750 would probably be okay. 750 would probably be plenty. So there you go. That's the whole craziness of the thing.
The other thing you can do is call the manufacturer. Call the manufacturer and see what they recommend.
Okay, so now we have relay talk. Common is 30, which can be positive or negative based on... Yeah, so if you really want to, for those of you who don't know what a relay is an electronic switch. And you have two things happening. Inside of it is an electromagnet, okay? And what powers electromagnet is a power and a ground, all right? So the remote turn-on output is your power, and then you would go to ground. So it's a positive trigger relay. You need a positive and negative. And what that's going to do is that's going to charge the coil, which is an electromagnet, which is going to pull over a switch. But you have two positions. You have rest and you have connected. 30 is the common. So 30 is the core of what's inside of the electromagnet. So as you charge the electromagnet, it goes, poof, pulls it over and connects whatever is on the opposite side, which is 87. It's going to make contact. If you're like, what? Think of it as yourself and a light switch on the wall. When you walk up and you go click, that's what you're doing. You're just doing it charged. Your air conditioner at your house has a big ass version of one of these in there that takes AC and switches DC. That's one of the things that typically breaks on your air conditioner. Like when your air conditioner that goes, the fan working outside? No. What's more than likely happen is your relay went bad. Or the capacitor. The capacitors love to die. The capacitors are what keep the fan motor spinning and not blowing up the fan motor all the time. So you got to buy a $30 capacitor so you don't blow up a $45 motor. Makes a lot of sense. But the relays typically are bad. But yeah, so there's a lot of applications for relays, but there are tons of them underneath your car. And here, okay, so I had to learn how to wire positive trigger and negative trigger output relays by memory, so that made learning them easier. Flip it, dip it, swip it, blow it. Yeah. There again, if you're an old alarm guy, the Bosch. If you want, you can probably find it online. There's a book called the Bosch Relay Book. Okay. And it's fantastic. There's so many things you can do with relays that we don't do anymore because most things are solid state now. But back in the day, pre-2000s, Team the HVAC dude. Yeah. Welcome to Florida.
Have you replaced?
Oh, I've done all that shit. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah, man. At 3 o'clock in the morning. Uh-huh.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, dude. Come on. But anyways, back in the day, relays were used for all kinds of things. You could, you had, which he probably would remember, door locks, you need 2 relays. Jeeps, you needed 3 relays. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was really one of the first cars that the interface was great for.
Okay.
Because you would have to hardwire in the door lock. So you'd need 8 relays to do the car. It's either 8 or 4. It's probably 4. It was ridiculous. Or you buy the smart module that Perfuel made and just connect 2 wires to CAN and tell it to unlock and lock the doors. It was like that was the beginning of the end for everything. It's just like the Chevy Cavalier was the beginning of the end for radios. Mm-hmm. Like that was the writing on the wall. Those stupid, yeah. Yeah, see? It's Dodge. Yep. Hated those. It was 4. Yeah, see? All of us old guys. 2 for the front, two for the back. Yeah, it sucked. And then the Camaro was one of the first to have like the weird dome light wire that you had to react. So you had to go to double pulse on the door locks. So you would have to connect in the dome light wire because you'd have to trigger the dome light wire. Because what would happen, this was genius on their part. When the dome light went off, it shut off the door lock switch. Mm-hmm. So you couldn't pull the window back and hit the door lock switch. You could only you'd have to open the door. Okay. Well, when you put in a keyless entry system, you're hitting unlock and nothing is happening. So what you'd have to do is you'd hit it and have a double pulse. The first pulse would turn on the dome light. The second pulse would then unlock the door. These are all of this stuff is just like done through modules.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
Smart modules.
Yeah. So
flashing.
The knowledge of the relay has been left on the battleground floor.
Do you think it's good or you think it's bad? They're not with so many T harnesses and flashing a module.
You mean not knowing basic stuff?
Not knowing basic. Like, for example, I have no idea, right?
Right. It was before your
example,
time.
like, yeah. Now I can put an alarm, no problem. I flash it, done.
Times. No, it wasn't.
But now, like before, it was you had to know how to do all that stuff.
I'm getting PTSD thinking about it. Oh yeah. I mean,
so it's good, it's bad.
So I mean, yeah, but the thing, okay, so it's like, so like this bottle of water, okay. We know there's only so much amount of water that'll fill this, that can go into this. All right. So this is what, like ounces. 16 ounces, 16.9 ounces of water. Mm-hmm. That's all that can go into this. Your brain is no different. You can handle 16.9 ounces of knowledge into your brain. Some can handle less, some can handle more, but for the most part, so you're learning things today that are way better than the stuff we had to learn back then. So There's always going to be a certain amount of technology that gets lost to the battleground, but because
what I'm saying, do you think it's worth to know this, or it's like it's not necessary? What we have right now, just keep going and done.
I'm running. I'm just going forward. I could care less about the past. I'm with Cody on this before he like change the subject, before he like starts tweaking in the corner going double pulse. Remote start, H key, G key, so many keys. Yeah. There you go. Add a words. Lose old stuff, learn new stuff.
Yeah.
There you go.
Old guys.
Yeah, you got to teach the old guys new tricks, man. How do you correctly size your amp channel wattage needed if you have a component three-way speakers and the tweeters, mid, and woofer are on one channel with proper crossover settings? So if you only have a left and a right channel and you have a three-way set, somewhere in there has to be a passive crossover. And that is going to be the passive crossover's job, is to limit the performance of each one of the drivers. And I use the word limit the performance of each of the drivers because that's essentially what it's going to do. All of these are passive crossovers, and of course the tops don't come off, but inside of them are different resistors, some sandstone resistors, caps, coils, and stuff like that. And the whole purpose of them is to blend the speakers together at the right volumes. In some cases, there's attenuation. This one. Yeah.
That has it.
Oh, over here on the side, there's a little jumper.
Go up. The camera is up.
So there's this little jumper right here. Yep, wrong one.
The other one.
Yeah, that one. There's a jumper on this one, and that jumper is to help blend the tweeter with the mid-range, because typically those are the closest to one another. Some of the big Focal crossovers have tons of jumpers inside of them. When Alpine came out with the original OG X series speakers, dude, it was ridiculous. You had like 10 different jumpers that you could select for getting the levels as well as the phasing between the speakers right, so that you would have the best sound possible. And there again, now all of that is easily done in a DSP with multiple channels. So it's not bad. Like this car we're working on here is a Scion TC. We talked about it on Instagram today. It's getting a Focal three-way set in it of the flax. So 6, 2.5, and a tweet, all beautifully lined up on the door panel. Like whoever designed this car was crazy. crazy smart.
He was an audio guy.
Yeah, he was an audio guy for
He's
sure.
like, this is what I want.
Like, this would be the one car where if you did a passive system, it would be fantastic.
Mhm.
And it would probably sound amazing because they're all, it almost looks like a home array. However, in most cases, you have mid-bass in the bottom of the door, you have a mid-range in the top corner of the dash, and a tweeter somewhere on the sail or the A-pillar.
Yep.
And it's like, that sucks when you're looking at a passive crossover because there's not a lot you can do for it. You know, sometimes you can flip polarity and hope for the best, but that's just it. You're hoping for the best. I've only found audio dynamic 3-inch coaxials, but very few dealers. Has anyone audio SQ speaker company out of Vegas been at Knowledge Fest for you to hear? No.
SQ speaker?
No. So, I mean, we talk with most of the companies, and we're really pushing for some of them to come out. Like, for example, Audio Control has the new 3.5. It's not a $750 set of 3.5s like the Illusions were. Some people are going, holy shit, what? You got to use that word. You know, it's like everyone makes a $80 pair of 3.5s. And it's just like, it's hard to find coaxial 3.5 that's like, yeah, and you know, just do what everybody else. Just take like a 2.5 inch, sink it down, put a bridge over, and put the treater on the top. Call it a day. Good evening from Trinidad.
What's up?
Any installs on the Audio A4 B7? No, not that I'm aware of. I don't really pay attention to the names of the models on Audis.
No, but I think Christian, that was an A4.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. So Karma.
Karma?
Yeah.
Karma?
You can do the Karma 3.5. Yeah, that was one of the ones that
Karma is when you do something bad.
Yeah. All right, give me another question.
Let's see. I'm trying to find it.
Trying to find it?
Yeah, it's just, you know.
It should be like right there, man.
I don't know.
That was set. Well, I mean, there's a whole thing right in front of you. Read it and answer it.
Is there any DSP I can use to tune a center channel?
Yeah.
But not any. Not any DSP to tune a center channel.
There's a so if you really want to know about, their website sucks.
Yeah.
Wow, that's terrible.
Oh wow, Karma Mobile Audio.
Yeah, okay. It's crappy though. It just doesn't really have, like most websites. It's Anyways, It looks like they have a middler. Anyways, so you need a function called upmixing to do center image. If you would like, all right, so we actually did you a solid on this one because I'm going to direct you to a show where we had Andy Waymeyer on about two months ago. All right, and it's like just type in go to our playlist and type in Andy Waymeyer. He's from Audio Frog, and we had him talk to us about two things. We had a half hour on each. One was all pass filters, and the other one was upmixing for center channel. The reason why we asked him those two questions was because this is a question we get all the time. And he does a really good job of explaining how this works, what you need it to do, a lot of the mythos on like, oh, you can do this and this, and then you can't. The upmixer is designed to extrapolate parts of the left and right signal frequency to do something that was never made to do in two-channel audio. So in surround sound for your house, you have 5.1, 6.1, 7.1, 9.7.2, and all this crap now. And when it's recorded, each one of those numbers corresponds to a channel that is created in the digital space, one of them being a center channel. In audio, it is a two-channel, that's it. It has left, it has right, and there's nothing else. So now we have to use technology, AI, to extrapolate something that can be then played in the center of the dash. It's It's not pre-recorded that way. It's hard to do is the easiest way to say that. It's very hard to do. There are some pieces out now that are standalone that allow you to do like 3 channels, so center and like effect for the rear, and the rest is just done through the DSP. Audison has an up mixer, Helix has an up mixer, Arc has an up mixer with various things. And that's what's the 2-seat tune is what everyone is talking about. There's plenty of DSPs out there that have a center channel output that just say center channel, but they do no up mixing. It's literally just putting a sound out to the center of the car. Like I said, there's plenty of DSPs out there that just put a center out to the car. It's not actually an upmix center channel. It's just sound coming to the center of the dash.
Left and right.
So it's definitely something that is like going to become bigger in the future now that like Atmos is becoming a thing. But the cool thing about that is they do all the math and you just need a player that can direct it to where it needs to go. So once that becomes reality in the car audio world, then that'll solve this issue for us of people going, how do we get because it's a center, so you can't use delay when you're doing center. But anyways, go watch Andy's thing and he will help you understand what it is that you might want to know. Replacing front 6.5 components and rear pillar 6.5 mid bass and a 1997 Trans Am. Want good quality product with good full range sound, but don't need best of best. Thinking Alpine, thoughts and suggestions. Yeah, Alpine will work. Yeah, I don't see why not. Sure, go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah, Alpine, you could do, some R2 stuff will work there. If you want to go more inexpensive, some S will work. I'm not personally a fan of S. If I'm looking at the S price point, I would probably jump over and look at like the Kenwood Exelon line of speakers. But you could also get into some of the exotics. For example, like Focal makes the Auditor line as well as the Integration line that are also very competitively priced. Sound good, easy to mount, not a lot of frills as far as like you don't have to go crazy on price points or stuff like that. So there you go. There's a couple. And I know you guys have all been sitting here for the last 10 minutes and going, is he going to talk about Moscone-America.com? And I'm like, maybe. I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I know this guy want to know if anybody has a 6-channel DSP amp or DSP or DSP amp they want to sell. As a retailer, we got tons of them we want to sell. Moscone makes a couple 6-channel DSPs and DSP amplifiers that they're willing to sell you, and they're good at it. But yeah, you can check them out at Moscone-America.com. The smaller line is the Atamo. So you have your Atamo little amplifiers. They have an 8 to 10 or an 8 to 12, and they have a 6 to 10.
6 to 8.
They have a ton of them.
Yeah.
So you can check them out at Moscone-America.com, or if you'd like more details, head over to Gladen.com.
More details.
Yeah.
In depth.
You can go crazy.
Yes. All right. Hello.
Hi.
5-star.
Hi.
Big fan.
Me too.
Not me. Question is, how do you install a subwoofer amplifier to a Helix V8 DSP amp combo?
There's an output on the side of the V8 because the V8 I think is a 10 or 12 10? Channel. Is it 10?
I think so.
I think so too. But yeah, you can
output.
Yeah, and it's controlled through the software. So all your level, and you can still use the level on the amplifier if you want, but there's an output to go off to this. Here, check this out. So yeah, that's all you got to do. There's RCAs on it, so you run all your signal into it. So what I would do is if I had, let's say, a radio or something that has 6 channels, or if I'm bring everything into the V8. Subwoofer, everything goes into the V8. So if it's a radio front rear sub, if it's a factory. It's got tweeter, mid, rear, sub. All of it goes into the V8, and then you're going to use the V8's input-output mixer to send the subwoofer signal out to 9 and 10. That's right, it is 9 and 10. And those will
9 and 10.
and then you can EQ them, you can cross them over, you can fix any of the input it's got, whatever you want to do, it's all right there. So check this little guy out here. Oh, not that. That was crazy.
That's what I had.
Yeah.
The 4-6.
That's it. So this thing is like, you didn't put that back, did you? No. It's only like this big. It's so cute. Yeah.
That's a good question. Where is it?
I don't know. I don't know. Because you probably didn't put it back in the box. That would have made too much sense.
No, I think it's in the box.
Okay, sure. Next question. We got a couple more minutes. With Atmos coming to car audio, will we get HDMI audio on radio DSPs, or are there some out there now?
Do you remember what Herman did to his
car?
The BMW?
Yeah.
How he did it?
Yeah, he did with an Apple TV.
Okay.
And then he used, I want to say he used the digital out. I don't know. I didn't have him explain it to me. It's just he's got a ton of amplifiers with DSP in there, and he did it the hardest way possible because that's all there is that's available to him right now. So it's not like. But to answer this question, when we get HDMI audio or radios, the reality is no. I can tell you right now, the most lackluster thing in this industry right now is the radio manufacturers. I don't know what they got going on, but none of them are like. I would be blown away. Like, holy crap, if any one of these guys came out with anything that was like this. Like, we had to beg, borrow, and steal them to put HDMI back into output, back into it. You're never going to get HDMI input, that's for sure. And that output isn't made for audio, so it sucks. It's just made for video because everyone's like, I want my HDMI input so I can stream to it.
What is crazy?
Yeah.
It has to do like, boom.
Boom.
Do you hear that?
Like the workflow? So I think you'll see it from DSP manufacturers long before we see it from car stereo, from the radio manufacturers. I think those guys, 2 years ago, I would have said, yeah, man, I really feel like they're going to do something. But lately, talking with them, it's just depressing. It really is. I just think that they're just not putting their effort into this. None of them are. It's not like I'm picking on any one guy. It's like they're all concentrating on 10-year-old cars as if new cars aren't coming out. It's like, okay, cool. No. So we'll see. I like to be wrong. I really do.
No, you're not.
When it comes to stuff like that,
you never like to be wrong.
When it comes to stuff like that, I love being wrong.
No,
because that means
true.
I got what I wanted. So I feel like we're all just going to be let down.
Not true.
Does anyone make a cover for a touchscreen stereo, 6.5 inch, kind of like a fish finder cover?
I'm surprised car manufacturers don't offer that. Like, radio manufacturers. Like, for example, Kenwood. Hey, like, as an accessory, I can sell you that.
Well, it's because it's got to work. It's the touchscreen that's got to work. So I think
the
closest.
What's the difference of your phone and?
Yeah, but it's the phone. Okay, listen. You pick up the phone. That's a $1,500 phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Not a $300 radio. Okay, there's a difference there.
Okay, so the high-end radios.
Okay. So Alpine makes the water-resistant panel on the Jeep radio, the JLJK. Okay, you can get the water-resistant panel. The rest of it isn't, but that panel is. You can get it wet. That's probably the only piece that I'm aware of that is like that. I know the high 10 at some point is going to get that done to it. That's the goal from what they're saying, is that in some iteration of that, it'll be waterproof. But as far as like making something that you have already waterproof, that'd be a custom job. Maybe like something with some. See, it wouldn't be impossible. It's just finding like a rubber that will allow your finger touch to go through it.
Now, we're talking about just really cover, or
like a screen, like a cover.
Screen protector.
Not a screen protector. A cover to keep it from getting wet. He wants to moisturize it. Yeah, like brownies. He wants them moist. Oh, baby. Hey guys, guess
Hey,
what?
guys.
That takes us to the end of the show. Holy crap! We'd like to thank our sponsors, Metra, who makes Tsunami, and
Yeah,
T-Spec.
T-Spec.
I
Yeah.
know, dude. It's a lot. It's Monday, bro. This has just been one of those Monday. Audio Control, Arc Audio, Focal, Moscone Gladen. They're the guys that make this show happen, along with you guys, the fans that ask us questions, because without your questions, we'd be talking to each other. And I got to be honest
like
with you.
20 minutes he was talking.
I was talking to nobody. You were too. We were having a great time. It was wonderful.
Never mind. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, yeah, covers for stereos for Polaris and slingshots. Yeah, no, that was,
Yeah.
Trust me, I'm right there with you, man. I personally think just make a waterproof radio would be the better way to go. But
I mean, why
like I
not?
said, go team, yeah, go team, go. But anyways, hey, thank you guys for tuning in and playing along with us. This is the Monday show. Make sure to follow us on Instagram where we go live and talk to you about what we're working on in the Bay, as well as answer your questions if we have time.
That's right.
We'll be back Friday
Mm-hmm.
for the news. Hopefully there'll be tons of news. And of course, Saturday we'll be doing this again. And you can look forward to releases all week long on the 5-Star channel of stuff that we got going on in the Bay. Right now, we're working through the Tesla install, as well as we have some product reviews that we're going to be putting up there for you guys to check out.
Have a great weekend.
Always something happening on the 5-Star network.
Yeah.
I know. I will have
a great week.
Hopefully have a great week. That is my plan.
Yes.
It is Monday, so it's a hell of a hill to climb. Staying cool? Probably not. I think we're gonna be shutting the door because summer is
hot,
here.
Man.
Yeah, holy Jesus, dude. So like, you can see the red.
Yeah, look at me, dude.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Oh yeah. We took because Mom wanted to go for a ride in the
dude.
Convertible.
It used to be white.
Whatever. Never. She wanted to go for a ride in the convertible, so we drove all over the place with the top down.
Yeah.
And then finally she goes, "We can put the top up." And I go, "Well, I know I'm worried about my skin cancer." I'm like,
that's pretty good.
I'm like, okay. Well, she's wearing a full bodysuit, driving around in a convertible. It's like, what the hell's the point, you know? But hey, she had a good time.
There you go.
We ended up at a beach. It was fun. She got to see some sand.
Where's that Brian Mitchell video?
Which one?
I don't know.
I mean, we have the podcast that we haven't done yet because I haven't had time.
Oh, you already talk about it? You've been talking about it?
No, we've hinted. It's not really like, hey,
everybody's waiting.
They can. So am I. Breaking period for Ultimos. I mean, a good solid 2 weeks. You know,
2 weeks.
2 weeks. I'd say a good solid 2 weeks.
Okay.
You know, because you're not going to drive. I mean, unless you drive like 2-3 hours a day, probably a good solid 2 weeks. For me, it'd probably take me like 6 months.
Like a year and a half.
Probably a year and a half. If I put them in now, they'll sound great right before I get rid of the car.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's a good call. I should do that.
Yep. Let's do that.
You guys have a wonderful day as always. Fade to black.
Bye, guys.